When the Aztecs settled, they did so on rather marshy land surrounding a lake. Some of the land wasn't good for farming, though. As their population grew, they needed to find a better way to farm food. They didn't want to build further away from the city because thieves could steal their food. To solve this problem, they made the clever invention called floating gardens. Floating gardens were large rectangular rafts. They were made from cane with dirt piled on top, vegetation, and then more dirt piled on top of that. Floating gardens were anchored to the bottom of the lake or to the land surrounding them. The food produced by floating gardens made up half to two-thirds of the food consumed by this word, which is now Mexico City. They could spend most of the time farming because the natives that lived there were going to stay permanently. Building floating gardens were great for their skills. The people would dig tunnels in the area of the lake and use the soil to grow crops. Floating gardens were usually 300 feet long and 15 to 30 feet wide. Floating gardens were used all year long. They grew corn, squash, chilies, beans, and flowers. Part of these crops were used as tributes to the gods. For example, the flowers were used in multiple Aztec ceremonies. Floating gardens resulted in rich soil. Floating gardens produce so much food that there's excess food left over. People could focus less on farming, more on daily native lifestyles, such as crafts. It was a little difficult to get to the food on the rafts. To solve this problem, they made stone and mud walls between each floating garden, acting as walkways between each floating garden. As they grew even more, they needed more land, so they made barriers to hold back the water.